regional banks, I mean, we got like 4,500 regional banks around this country. Do we need all of them? I don't know. Herman Chan knows. Herman Chan, he's the senior analyst for U.S. regional banks for Bloomberg Intelligence. Herman, when you talk to the banks that you cover in the space, the regional banks around the country, do they believe there may be an opportunity over the next several years under a Trump administration where they might be able to get some deals done?
There's definitely more enthusiasm for that. The banks recently were at an investor conference, and the tone definitely shifted. Under the Biden administration, M&A, and bank M&A in particular, was pretty much discouraged due to tougher regulations, longer lead times to get deal approvals. They nixed the deal for that TD Bank wanted to buy First Horizon in Tennessee. So there were lots of evidence that M&A couldn't be done under a Biden administration. And now with Trump and a deregulation effort, there's more hope for more merger activity. And the valuations with the Trump up actually just sustained that and helped that even further.
So again, we've got a lot of regional and community banks in this country, which is unlike I've learned just over the last several years, reading your research, talking to you, and reading other reports. That's unusual. In other parts of the world, other countries, they don't have as many regional banks. They have a very small number of banks. Why do we have so many regional banks? And is that a source of strength, or is that maybe just inefficient?
Yeah, there's a lot to unpack there. Other countries have more of an oligopoly, whereas it's open competition here in the United States. A lot of it had to do with state regulation that was enacted, decades ago, and there were state banks, and they just proliferated. Eventually, there was some M&A activity, and you've seen that over the past few decades. But it is a strength because it creates more credit availability for various parts of the country and various entrepreneurs and consumers. So you can get more credit available to you, which helps the economy and stimulates activity. So all in all, I think it's a good thing, but it has proven to be a bit inefficient in this current dynamic where there's much more focus on technology investments, regulation, and so there definitely needs consolidation to occur.
Because when I heard Lloyd Blankfein, former CEO of Goldman Sachs, when he was CEO, he would say, this was 4 or 5 years ago, Goldman Sachs is a technology company. They spend more on technology than they spend on investment banking stuff.
Right.
So I think about some of these banks and how easy the apps are now for my Wachovia, for my consumer stuff. So easy to use.
Right.
If I'm a community bank, I'm a smaller bank, do I have the resources to kind of keep up with that just client-facing technology?
Yeah.
Forget about the back office technology. Is that a strain for them?
It is. And it only is going to get worse as technology continues to evolve with AI capabilities. And so that's one of the reasons why we think merger activity will need to occur, because economies of scale is vitally important for the banking industry. And you just mentioned one thing with technology and apps, and a lot of these smaller community banks just don't have those products and services that consumers want these days.
So when I think of a quality regional bank, I think of your former employer, M&T Bank.
That's right.
Up in Buffalo, just a quality regional bank. Is it somebody like that is a natural acquirer, or is it just Community Bank A buying Community Bank B? How's this going to play out, do you think?
Yeah, it's going to be a little bit of both. The smaller banks will want to be a bit more independent to gain scale, and they see opportunities within their core markets. But we do think there will be regional bank champions that really extend their reach within their larger regional focus. M&T in the Northeast, PNC is another one that operates in the Northeast and Mid-Atlantic that's starting to grow in the Southeast. So, and then there's banks like Fifth Third that are growing in the Southeast. So there are opportunities for these larger regional banks to be more competitive with the trillionaire banks like the JP Morgan Chases and the Bank of Americas of the world over time.
So like a PNC, like an M&T, like a Truist in the South, which was itself the product of a big merger of
That's
two.
right. BB&T and SunTrust.
Exactly, and the worst name they could have. But anyway, I know a lot of folks that work there, some good people doing good business in their markets where they feel like they can go up against a Bank of America, even a JP Morgan coming in. You want to come into Winston-Salem and bank against me? Fine,
Right.
I'm ready. What do those guys do? Because they're kind of in between, the money centers and kind of the smaller players.
Right. So what these larger regional banks talk about is targeted scale. So they are scale in their markets. They're not scale nationwide. So if you have top 5 market share in Winston-Salem or Syracuse, New York for M&T's sake, or Pittsburgh for PNC, you can compete because you have the marketing prowess within those markets and you have the branch presence in those markets. So it's not David and Goliath within those markets itself.
Where are the valuations of these regional banks? Where are we today versus historical norms? Because I know that your group was under a lot of pressure for the last couple of years. We had some of those smaller banks blowing up. Where are we today?
Right. So on an adjusted basis, we're at 1.5 times tangible book value, which is...
That's better.
That's better. That's basically where we were during the prior March 2023, before SVB and First Republic and Signature collapsed. We reached a trough of 0.9 times, so now we're back.
Yeah, so I mean, that was my call when we were talking to you a year ago. Like, if I were, the financials analyst at some hedge fund, I'd want to walk into my boss's office and say, I need more capital. I'm going long the regional banks.
Right. And it worked out because you were calling it around, the fall of last year, and we've seen that rebound. So
because reading your research, talking to you, anytime your stock get below 1 times book,
right, that's a
unless
good buying
something's
signal.
Really crazy in the world, that's when you buy them.
Exactly. So that's a good rule of thumb. Regional banks sort of echo what's happening within the economy, and so when there's fluctuations and uncertainty, there are potential buying opportunities, and that 1 times tangible book is a good litmus test there.
All right. See, I could have made money. Here I am. Thinking about it. Herman Chan, thank you so much for joining us. Herman Chan, he's our senior analyst. He covers the U.S. regional banks. We love talking to Herman Chan because the companies that he covers, they're making the loans to the small and mid-sized businesses all around the country, which are the backbone of this U.S. economy. And